And it says we're live. Look at that.
I'm feeling alive. You look live.
I am alive.
All right.
And now making final adjustments, pressing buttons, and good morning.
Good morning. Soon this will be. This is now Bridge to a Better World. And right now it's just tin toys. So let me get this to rattling. Shall I?
Yeah,
like
put
so?
this up. Maybe put this up and...
Like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. All right.
Yeah, try that.
Okay. Go, little airplanes.
That's good. Oh my God. I just squirted myself in the face, having held that backwards. Wow! Things are jumping this morning.
It's funny because I was just reading about an airplane crash. Well, not this one.
They do, don't they? So much better than the real thing, baby. Good morning, kitties. Good morning to all who are gathering, even as we speak. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, I do know what I know. So good. Mine were kind of extreme. Oh, yeah. It was really dry skin. And it's super dry out. And so I had some lotion, and then I had glasses I couldn't see out of. Because that's how that works.
Instead of being smoky.
But you're going to be smoky. All right. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
We gather together.
Take this way.
We'll move that there. Yeah, come into the frame, Teresa.
You trying to frame me? Okay.
Morning.
Good morning. This is now Bridge to a Better World. I'm Teresa Mitchell. That's Ani Haynes.
That's me.
The original Ani Haynes. And
morning, John. Good morning, Kitty. Good morning, all.
Yes. Let me see if I can actually read my headlines on the teleprompter here. This is my teleprompter. The Cambodian Ministry of Health has confirmed that the emergency response team has found 12 more people infected with highly pathogenic avian influenza A, also known as H5N1, in Pravang province. The minister made her statement last night following the death on Wednesday of an 11-year-old girl from H5N1 in Rulang village. This marks the first death from bird flu in Cambodia since 2014 and the 57th case overall. Between 2005 and 2014, the government reported 37 H5N1 related deaths. They said that 4 of the affected people have begun to show symptoms. The health ministry added that the emergency response team took their samples for analysis at the laboratory in Phnom Penh, and the results will be released today. They said emergency response teams are investigating the area where the outbreak happened. The statement said an irregular number of dead wild animals were found near the province where the infected girl lived, which is kind of scary. And also kind of like maybe a relief. It's like maybe this is not person-to-person transmission. Maybe they got it from, the animals, which are having a bad outbreak, obviously. Samples from the dead animals are taken for lab testing, and the ministry is awaiting the results. Secretary of the Ministry of Health said the emergency response team will continue to search for those affected by bird flu in schools. With the discovery of the infected people, Ms. Yuk Sambath, the official, called on the villagers to increase vigilance and to follow the instructions of the government. Public health expert Dr. Kwach Mangley said the disease has symptoms similar to a cold, such as cough and fever, and is highly life-threatening without treatment. Meanwhile, an influenza expert at the University of Pennsylvania stated on the PBS NewsHour this week that researchers are nervous about possible transmission of H5N1 bird flu among mammals. Researcher William Brangham, said that the recent appearance of the virus in minks and other mammals raises risks to humans, but that there is no indication so far that the virus has developed the ability to spread among people. So there's that. PolitiFact says that more than 50,000 people have viewed a Facebook post claiming President Joe Biden had been shot dead. They write, quote, Biden made a surprise visit to Kyiv on February 20th, but he didn't perish there. Rather, he traveled on to Poland, where he gave a speech in Warsaw on the anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Both trips were widely filmed and photographed. A video in the Facebook post features discussions about QAnon conspiracy theories, but offers no evidence to support the claim that Biden was shot in the behind-the-scenes execution. We rate this post pants on fire, and I bring this up because that's just how deep the doo-doo gets on the right these days. 50,000 people say, well, just asking questions. Vice has an article by Anya Zolidowski and David Gilbert called "The Far Right is Calling for the Execution of Teachers and Doctors." They write that TPUSA's Charlie Kirk is strongly implying that there should be a death penalty for trans persons, and they quote an email sent to school board member in Eau Claire, Wisconsin last spring from someone with the alias "Kill All Marxist Teachers." The email said, quote,
That's a subtle person. That person knows how to finely nuance their message.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Not really, not beating around the bush. The quote is, "I am going to kill you and shoot up your next school board meeting for promoting the horrific radical transgender agenda." That transgender agenda was brush my teeth, make some coffee,
walk the dog.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that gets horrible, but anyway, it is now time to declare
It's part
war.
of your agenda to play flute daily.
Yeah.
It's part of your agenda. It's hard to say, really.
Well, here, this explains it. It says, "It's now time to declare war on you pedos. I'm going to kill you and your entire family," end quote. That would prevent them from being pedophiles, presumably if they're dead. Although they could be zombie pedophiles, and what will they do then? But anyway,
the nonsensical nature of their messaging, it defies any trying to explain it.
Yeah, and as I've said many times, it's really the same bullshit as in 1938 in Germany. Tim Norden, president of the Eau Claire Area School District, went straight to his wife and showed her the email. They instructed their 14-year-old son, who was outside the yard, to return home, locked the doors. Norden then drove to the school board office. He called his colleagues to warn them about the email and met up with police once he arrived. He's quoted saying, "It's very easy to imagine a mass shooting in the U.S. at any event at this point, so we had to take it very seriously. I didn't want to be close to my family just in case," end quote.
So, just check out the world we're living in now. As it's been pointed out, we have been averaging well more than 2 mass shootings a day in this country since the beginning of the year. Think about what this means to all of us, right? I mean, some of us try really hard to just sort of have that in the back of our heads and not have it affect how we go about our daily, business, especially if we're old enough not to have active shooter drills in schools. And to have, to receive a message like this and to immediately think, I can't be around my family right now because I'm targeted and I'm dangerous for them because some fascist nutcake wants to murder me, and will probably just keep on shooting because it seems like the fascists just sort of like to spray. What's that? The spray and pray maneuver, as opposed to actually targeting an individual.
Yeah, as someone who can actually shoot, I find that offensive on that level as well.
There's so much
but
that is wrong
that's
with
not on
this.
my transgender agenda. I mean, my transgender agenda might, I might have a kiss in. Look out, I'm going to get you.
Yeah, right.
That would scare the crap out of him, actually. So speaking of distraction, Pete Buttigieg is trying to get his distraction
actually, you just brought back to mind
the kiss-ins.
Yeah, I don't know if
Queer love kiss-ins. Remember that?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
So you're going, okay, yeah.
Queer love kiss-ins. Part of ACT UP and RATS and Lesbian Avengers, we had queer love kiss-ins. Queer people gathering in public areas to have public displays of affection and, just sort of kiss.
They kissed in church. Remember, that was the RATS,
great.
Right?
It was great. I like protests that it really sort of focus on kissing.
Cardinal in New York just about had a heart attack when they had a kiss in church. Okay, Pete Buttigieg is trying to get his distraction machine going.
Kissing for peace makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Than, arming for peace.
I'm getting ideas. He's belatedly showing up at the Ohio toxic rail disaster. He'll never be president. He blew it. We were talking about this earlier this week. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders is promoting his new book, It's Okay to Be Angry at Capitalism. Just the name of it gives me hope. But I wrote, gives men hope. Was that some sort of like last century? But Sanders is now the head of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, also known as the HELP Committee, as in help, we're being destroyed by capitalists. But that's got to be terrifying to our corporate masters, because not only is Bernie an open socialist, he's head of a committee that addresses the four things they hate and fear the most: the health of the people, the education of the masses, the organization of labor, and the, oh no, not that stomp them all out pensions committee. So hell's a pop.
Don't you mean entitlements?
Oh, entitlements, right. Like when you work all your life and pay it forward and it gets taken out of your check, and then you're just so entitled you want your money back.
Almost like it was an investment program.
Oh man, that word. I just burst into flames every time I hear entitlements.
She does. I have a special little fire extinguisher. It's her ideological fire extinguisher. I keep it handy at all times.
It's 80 degrees Fahrenheit in Washington, D.C. Los Angeles is getting a blizzard warning. And when I hear that, I think there are 70,000 people living on the street in Los Angeles, and they can't afford to suffer a blizzard. And right now, if that snow's coming down, then, people are going to be dying.
And there are thousands on the street here in the Portland area.
Speaking of pensions, a lot of people are on the street because their pensions were stolen, straight up stolen. Anyway, looking out my window, I can see quite the snowscape still. And the wind is howling and the taps are dripping in our house in the hope that climate disaster won't destroy our house plumbing this time around. The real disaster is that my fellow Americans aren't thinking of the climate as a disaster at all. They're thinking about how to get to work no matter what. Or I should say they're already long at work, the first of 2 or 3 jobs, working for wages that don't begin to cover the expenses they have, nor even the payments they have on a house, because houses are far too expensive for most people now, especially if they're younger than 40. The great ripoff. And, speaking as a boomer, I'm pissed off about that. Really, thoroughly, completely pissed off. We don't talk about wealth distribution, or rather maldistribution, the vicious stripping of wealth from the producers of wealth, that's us, the workers, is right in front of our faces. But to mention it is to engage in that unacceptable processing of truth we call socialism. It's a thought crime. It is just basically a thought crime. Socialism isn't a flavor of dissent. It's a way of acknowledging truth. And that truth can be pretty simple, pretty basic. I mean, we get out and work as long and as well as we can work. We work every day that we can. We know that in the productivity statistics, we are making more wealth than has ever even existed. And where does it go? It seems to disappear. But it doesn't disappear if you go to the private airports and look in the Gulfstream jets with their marble bathrooms. Does it go to the tax man? As the Beatles famously musically whined, not if you're a billionaire. Is it given away to immigrants? Is it wasted on subsidized libraries that allow drag queens to subvert our darling young ones?
Or what about those entitled? Oh, no.
I know. Is it handed out to entitled, undeserving wretches at the border eager to snatch away our near minimum wage jobs? Is it given to welfare queens and welfare Cadillacs? There's a whole industry and a developed science to keeping people distracted by that kind of resentment. The resentment industry is cranking out hatred right now on the radio, on Hello Lars, on social media, on Fox Anti-News, and even the Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries has warned you to keep your eyes wide shut. He said he will never bend the knee to socialism, practically the first thing out of his mouth. Excuse me. As if socialism were a great plenipotentiary hegemonic force in America today instead of a harried boogeyman. Look out, socialism is going to get your mama. Here in Portland, it's 7:20 a.m. as I write this. Hello, what is it, 9:20 a.m. now? Lars Larson is bubbling and hissing, getting ready to bloviate against BIPOC, GLBTQ with the worst poison he can muster in his fascist broadcasting glands. And the local replacement for a progressive city councilwoman has already successfully denied tents to anyone desiring to rest comfortably in the 26 degrees Fahrenheit ice and snow. No socialist unheated pup tent for you, Grandma. Get out on that sidewalk and die of exposure like a proud capitalist American.
Let's be clear. You had told me, because I had not read this, but you told me that there was a specific order from him to not distribute.
Yes.
Tents.
I believe that'd be correct.
So first responders were prohibited. We're told not to.
I think he just got a funding for it, actually. But, here's a little bitty flag for you, Grandma. Put on your wheelchair. It's only $1. There you go. Get out of my sight with that cardboard sign, you loser. That's the horror. the storms are here, and the worst ones are coming in this El Nino year. Probably another round of deadly heat and choking smoke on these same sidewalks. But that's not what terrifies me. It's the fact that I could go out right now with a little protest sign asking my fellow citizens to act in a rational manner, to demand a living wage, to stop police racist attacks, to take siege guns away from maniacs who would shoot up kindergartens. And when I do so, I'll be taking my life in my hands, and I'll be lucky to escape a beating at the hands of the anti-police, who are currently raging with armed resentment at being asked to do their damn jobs. That's the scary thing right now. The destruction of the entire planet is bad enough, but the destruction of the only force that could turn things around, the minds of the masses, that's some horror movie shit. Take all the seething zombies in those scary movies and change the soundtrack so that they mutter Fox News talking points, and you're pretty damn close to reality. Hell yeah, it's scary. It's America 2023. Thus concludeth the rant. Are you looking up the tent thing?
Yeah, but now I can't look it up because you finished your rant.
Yeah,
like there without warning.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll do some research.
Oh well, actually, let's just say it's here. Yeah.
We're educated.
Yeah. He announced on Valentine's Day. This is, I think, the kicker for me, that he would be suspending tent and tarp distribution with the public safety bureaus that he manages, effective immediately. So again, no emergency tarps or tents for you folks living on the streets. Get in line, get a job, get a house, or freeze to death. The choice is clearly yours. So saith Rene Gonzalez.
I miss you already, Joanne Hardesty.
So there's that. I loathe that mentality. It sickens me. We are here to take care of each other. That is, in fact, one of our sacred purposes, right? We are here uh, to exist, to be as sacred beings on this planet, and it is one of our moral obligations, our sacred duties, to, in fact, take care of one another.
It's also a lot more fun, you know?
It is a lot more fun that way. There is a sense of togetherness. It spreads, what do you call that? Joy in life. Thinking that we are not isolated little sad particles born into a world of pain and just sort of getting along until we finally are able to shed this mortal coil. So this is, I think, a moral imperative to promote the idea that we are here. In fact, one of our primary purposes of being is to love and to take care of one another. And let us say it loudly. So there's that point. Lift yourself up by your own bootstraps. Indeed, John.
Bootstrap levitation.
And for anyone that hasn't read Bootstrap America, Living in Bootstrap America by Linda Tirado, please
awesome.
do. It is one of the best writings on classism, on being poor and what it is to be poor. So there's that. What else can I say? Oh, you are watching. This is now Bridge to a Better World. And if you are watching it, and I dare say you are, hit the like button, please. And like this video, subscribe if you haven't already to our YouTube channel.
Everybody hitting it?
Yeah, a few people have. It's
right.
Cool.
Yay.
But go ahead, hit the like button, and do leave comments below as well. If you're watching this, how do we say, while it is posted, while not live, comment below and let us know what you think about this content. Also, let us know what you are doing to reach out and love and help take care of other folks. Because I think that is actually dangerous to the conservative mindset, for sure. It is an act of subversion, and it's also fun and important. We say even necessary. What's that?
I'm just playing with the lights.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so
I guess that's a little much, isn't it?
So I'm just gonna carry on, and let's talk about Well, we've just gotten through a new moon cycle on Monday. I spent the new moon in the urgent care because I had uncontrolled tachycardia. It was fabulous. It was a great weekend. Um, there were reasons we didn't come to you last Friday live as we were both rather under the weather. And then mine developed into, yeah, uncontrolled tachycardia because I know how to have fun. That said, feeling much better,
She's
much
got a
snappier now.
she's got a more cultured cardia now,
Not tacky
not
anymore.
tacky.
So that all said, I have laid out some cards for this morning. Let's look at those, shall we? We have the Five of Swords, we have the Ten of Pentacles, and we have Strength. And Five of Swords and Ten of Pentacles were inversed. And what this means to us this week, let us look at places we have maybe unresolved conflict, especially within a close, peer, our family, friends situation, our close community. Looking at uh, are there things that need to be said that have been left unsaid? Or have you said something in a moment of unkindness that you need to take responsibility for? There it looks like there's like a lull right now because maybe folks decided things are hard, things are messy, relationships are super hard. Who has the energy for them? Certainly, it takes some energy. And so sometimes you feel like, oh, well, if I just walk away, if I just pretend these folks don't exist in my life anymore, it can feel like a place of resolution. But it's not really. And it tends to keep sort of leaching energy from you, and it tends to get into a place of isolation. And this is the Ten of Pentacles inverted, really talks about you have so much that you stand to gain. There's so much to gain by the coming together of community, but it's fractured when we put ourselves when we sort of have an ambition that excludes those around us, right? What I'm trying to say here is when you try to get ahead by maybe stepping on the heads of those close to you, the me first sort of mentality. And I'm going to say that a lot of us really don't think about the me first. But if we think about our actions and are we sharing what we can? Are we making sure that we share our successes and that we try to be inclusive, even of those that may have somewhat differing ideas? Um, are we are we acting in ways that feed community, or are we acting in ways that are cutting off community and really focusing on promoting self? If self ambition is the primary goal, you'll probably get ahead, but you'll probably be lonely. And that's a kind of getting ahead I don't understand, and may have brought us into a situation currently socially that we are experiencing. Um, so I think basically the cards are calling for really close look at relationships, being kind to each other, emphasizing a kindness, emphasizing communitarianism, and taking care of any sort of messy relationships, um, by again saying your truth, but saying it kindly and from your heart, and trying to open up communication so that people can actually resolve conflicts in their relationships and find peace in their life. Peace is not really a lack of conflict. Sometimes you can just sort of try to tamp it down artificially, and it's just always there bubbling underneath the surface. Peace is the resolution of those conflicts. And strength means that you absolutely have the ability to do this. You absolutely can reach deep inside yourself and bring forward the uh, the qualities you need. To be comfortable in yourself, to know your truth, and to know that you have the fortitude, you have the heart, you have the soul to do what needs to be done right now. And so that's what the cards say.
All right then.
Um,
I like that. That last one is like that's Kitty's Grito, I guess. Just really letting it fly.
yes, know your power. Yowl your power. And there's also this little infinity sign collar, right? The little infinity sign says that you always have access to this core of internal strength. It is infinite. It is not in short supply. It is not a zero sum game. All right, so there's all of that. Um, oh gosh, it seems like there were things. It seems like there were other things that I was about to veer into as we were talking about compassion and taking care of each other before I got into that tarot reading. But let us move forward together in this really just frozen landscape. It's a trip, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
As somebody who has lived in Portland my whole life, it is rare to see snow. And as we've all heard, it's we've broken records in the amount of snowfall in a day. And to have that happen here in the last week of February kind of blows my mind. I'm used to seeing this as a week of false spring. Um, and and why do I say that? Because my old mom, my adopted mom, huh, her birthday's today. Happy birthday, Jean, wherever you are. She passed on almost 14 years ago. 13 years ago, she passed away. And I just remember so often on her birthday, February 24th, we would have a little picnic in one of the gardens around town because it would usually be a day of fall spring, a day of a sun. And it was always our little joke. But certainly, we don't see that this year. There is no picnicking today.
well, I kind of enjoyed walking around in the snow, but that's what it's about. Snow everywhere.
Yeah, and if you have a choice to dash in and out of it, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I do want to say, in that way, we've had a passing in our community for folks that were KBOO fans or organizers in the labor community. Per Fogring passed away last week. And so, in thinking of Pear, in thinking of Jean, my adopted mom, um, there's really a lesson about carrying on the torch. There's a lesson about being a link in the chain, in taking the lessons of kindness and solidarity that we have learned from those who are older, those who have been doing it, and living those values and passing them on.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss Pear.
So that was actually that was for the
That's what I
thoughts I
was
was
digging at you.
having right before I did the tarot reading. Glad I circled back. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you all for being the compassionate and loving people that you are. It's a good community that we have. So be kind to yourselves and others.
Our love goes out to you and to all the ships at sea.
See you next week. Do hit the like and subscribe button.